Going to call this meeting to order. It's 6:01 p.m. It's Thursday night, May 16th, 2024, 6:01 p.m. here in the Veterans Room. First order of business is called to order. Second order of business is roll call. Councilor Adams. Present. Councilor Rivas is absent. Citizen Member Bernadone is absent. And Citizen Member La Rochelle is excused. And Council Marquetti is filling in so that we can have a quorum. I'm sorry. That's right. Item number 3, approve the minutes of May 1st, 2024.
So moved.
Can I have a second, please?
Oh, sorry, second.
No problem. Very good. Any adjustments that need to be made? Hearing that there are none, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstained? 3-0. Item number 4. Review, discuss an economic development and planning transfer of $728.50 from account number 001175-5711000, planning conferences and meetings, to account number 001175-530000, specialized services, to fund the cost of signs. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Either of you? Okay, Peg?
I'd love to be able to use these remaining funds. We were a skeleton crew this year, and so we did not attend as many conferences and meetings as we would have liked. So we've budgeted for that same amount for next year. And in this year, I'd like to be able to use those funds to fund, I need a surveillance sign up in McCann Fields as a further deterrent for vandalism, and to put people on notice that the cameras are in use there. I also would like to fund the Mill Street sign with those funds that was put at the top of the street. I was going to ask for miscellaneous funds to be used, but if we can use these, it would be a better use. And then also, if I have enough funds remaining, I have to put a sign at 76 Central that states that who the funder was.
Does this include the plaque that'll go over there?
No, and the plaque was voted
I'm
down.
just kidding.
Oh, okay.
I'm just kidding.
So it was, no
Sorry.
sign there, that's okay.
Okay. Any further questions? Council Marquetti.
So the signs, one is at McCann Field. You want to tell people that there's cameras in
Yes.
watching them?
Yes, let's broadcast that loud and clear to
I
everyone,
don't
right?
know if they know there's cameras, they're gonna start looking for them.
Oh, I actually think, if I may through you, Chair, one of the added bonuses of putting those signs there is it puts people on notice and hopefully deters them.
And then the sign on Mill Street, there is a sign on Mill Street. So you want to replace the sign?
It has not yet been paid for.
Oh, I see.
There was a sense of urgency from the business owners to please get this sign up, and I said, I'll find the funds. I'm sure the town council will agree, and I just, we said, go ahead and get the sign up as quick as possible. John Cloutier didn't even invoice us yet. He's very easy to work with.
Are you going to replace the Jersey barrier?
That was not my decision. I just provided the sign. The rest of the coordination was through the DPW.
Kind of looks tacky with a Jersey barrier.
We'll see what we can do on that,
Right.
and that was to get it up there, and given the way that lot is right now, there's gonna need some substantial work to get some fill in there, because all that was put in there originally was just mulch. So that was the best base that they could at least get the sign up so that it was there and people could see it.
And why wouldn't the business owners chip in on this? I mean, it is benefiting them.
I think it was an agreement that we kind of, Peg had brought it to me and said, hey, could we put up a sign, because I know
No, I
these
mean, it looks
businesses-
nice.
Yeah, and I think we just took the lead
I
as
think they
economic
would.
development to try to be good partners, because we are doing the construction down there, we're doing the roads, we're doing the tip project. So
Yep.
for short money, it's part of our,
And then 76 Central Street, that's the plaque for Memorial.
It would not be, no, that is separate. There was a proposition of should we put a bronze plaque there, but the local historic district study committee and the historical commission, they were all invited to come meet with Pat Morrell, and it was decided that a bronze plaque would not be in the vein of who they originally were, which was marble works, and now they're stonework. And so they've decided, no thank you on a bronze plaque, and they'll pass on it. They were actually, they were interested in potentially donating something to the town. So that was a nice gesture. So that would come to the town in the future. And in the
then what
meantime,
is
this
this
sign is a requirement through the park grant that we have something noting who the funder was on the
Oh,
property.
okay, all right, thank you.
Any further discussion from the table?
George. Oh, for me? Oh, George went first, so.
Okay.
You want me to?
Councilor Shania?
The sign, cameras and all that, does anybody monitor the cameras? Or are the cameras there to begin with? The other night I was at baseball field, a parent came up to me about a four-wheeler that plowed down one of the new trees. So the tree is uprooted. They had the bleachers for the first field. It was kind of put back up, but it's gonna probably die. But does anybody monitor the cameras? Is the police have like a full-time monitor at the police station for those cameras, do you know?
I'll have to double check.
So I can't speak to whether it's a full-time position, but yes, those cameras are running at all times. And if there's an incident, we need to be notified of it so that the cameras can be checked. And thank you for letting us know about the tree. We'll report that to Steve Brady and O'Hagan
Right.
Land Trust immediately. So
I was gonna come down and see you tonight,
Okay.
but then also you take like where the skate park is, it's deplorable up there. The graffiti that's being done, that type of stuff. I don't know, maybe we put signs there too? Saying that it's being video monitored, even if there's no video there?
I mean, we can take a look at it, yeah.
if I may through you, Chair?
Sure.
So one of the cultures of skateboarding, unfortunately, is their graffiti culture. One of the activities of their culture is the graffiti. One of the suggestions from Mike Brunel was to actually put down an entire, like an entire painting across all of the skate park to deter others from then painting on it. But I don't know whatever happened to that, so that, I think it might be outside of this conversation. It might be something
Right.
to bring to the rec director.
I just didn't know if it was just worth putting more signs up, even if there's no cameras there. Just some kind of signage saying that, you know, it could be videotaped or whatever, but sometimes it is a deterrent.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
Councilor Adams?
So I like the sign idea about the cameras. It's needed in every park that has cameras, or if they don't have cameras, needs to have some type of signage in there for surveillance. That's just common sense. I know this is a little off the subject, but was it brought up that where the signs out there on the corner on Mill Street is overgrown, that you can't see the sign? Was it?
Right.
So it's overgrown, you can't even see the sign. So that being said, in the skate park, that stopped at ARPA. ARPA the committee was voted 1-2, not to put any type of things down there. So it is what it is at this point in time.
Right.
That's all I've got.
Very good. Anyone else?
Yeah.
All those in favor?
I'll vote on this
Okay.
one.
Very good. Let the record show that Ms. Bernadone has arrived and is now taking her place at the table in the committee. Very good. Item number 5. Review, discuss, an economic development and planning transfer of $216.38 from account number 001180-5711000 Economic Development Conferences and Meetings to account number 001180-53000 Specialized Services to fund the cost of signs. Entertain a motion to recommend to Town Council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Very good. Mr. Manager or Ms. Dean?
I think it's the same motion, just different. It's for the signs, it's just two different accounts for the signs.
Very good. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 6. Review, discuss the application for up to $2 million in Mass Works funding for River Street, Crane Street Phase 2 construction to Pleasant Street and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, folks. Mr. Manager?
Thank you. So Peg's been working on this grant. I'll let her go through all the intricacies of it, but this would be from, when doing the bridge to Hamilton, this would be Hamilton to Pleasant, Mill Street areas in that location. So Peg, as we always try to find more grant monies for these projects, to lessen the burden on the taxpayer. Everybody knows that that banking is in disrepair, and that was not part of the original 2 million. So that's why we're looking for the other one. So from the bridge on Dexter Russell side to Hamilton Street is the first 2 million. This would allow us to go seek additional funding for that portion of that section. Tied in with some possible work in the mills, from the Jake's building and mill, correct? Okay. Some economic growth that he wants to do in that area. He's approached the town on some of the things that he would like to consider. So I'll defer to Peg on the remainder of that.
Unless there are questions. I don't-
Okay, we'll start up at the table. Councilor Adams.
Thank you. I understand number, was it 6? Or I'm sorry, 7? Is it concurrent with 6?
Correct.
Can we just throw this in one motion?
Well, I think, no, it has to be 2 motions
Discussion
because
and
we
then
have
design.
to vote
Okay.
for the chapter 90.
Roger that, that's all I had. Yep. Okay.
Okay, anyone else at the table? Okay,
He answered it.
all right. Councilor Mike Henry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for you. When I was going back through our meetings, I found we had already done this agenda item, and the wording was almost exact, that we had voted to apply for a Mass Works grant from the bridge to Pleasant Street. So I'm wondering why we're doing this again. Did the other one not get passed, or? I know, I can't give you the exact date, but I do know, I read it.
I remember parts of conversations on that too.
I read it,
yes, but-
and that's what it said, bridge to Pleasant Street.
Okay. Ms. Dean.
Yes, it was the expression of interest for the Mass Works grant,
I see.
so that was the initial feedback. I did include in the packets the expression of interest response from the state, or the feedback from the state, which talks about how, yes, this is an eligible project, yes, we do meet the criteria, it's our job to connect it to workforce development and mixed-use development.
And just to make it clear, I mean, that came up, thank you, Mr. Chair, through you. That came up here just a month or so ago for the expression of interest, and that's the one source process. You do the expression of interest, we apply for that, they came back with a recommendation, then at that point in time, we apply, get the approval from the town council, go from that, and then knock on wood, we get the 2 million, then we accept that money. Okay.
Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Mr. Town Manager, appreciate it.
Ms. Dean.
If I may, through you, Chair, so then the vote to use Chapter 90 is because the new requirement with Mass Works is that you have to have 25% design to be an eligible application. In the past, we didn't have to do that, so for River Crane last year, we did not need that. For the East Main Street design, we did not need that. And so the town council already approved us funding the design, or proceeding with the design work, and then we halted it as a town and said, let's wait until we know, the big picture of finances. And now the town has a better sense of finances, we're ready to go forward, and Rich has decided that this would be a good use of Chapter 90 funds. The reason we put it on a P&D was just in the interest of time, because he did not have a DPW subcommittee meeting.
And the project also is part of the expression of interest, which would go through plan and
Right.
development. That's where it gets complicated.
Yes.
Where you have intermingled things, proposals. So we hope you support it, because I think in talking to the group on that Mill Street property, there's some potential for some really nice redevelopment in that whole area on Mill Street. Where the mill buildings were, that we own that parking lot, or the lot there, so we can see some nice redevelopment in that area.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 7, review, discuss, using Chapter 90 funds to complete the 25% design for River Crane Phase 2, and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any discussion needed on this? Councilor Shannon?
Didn't we vote that already, the chapter 90 for that project?
No,
I thought we had a discussion during DPW subcommittee on to use chapter 90 funds. That's the section from the bridge to Pleasant Street. I thought somewhere along the line.
we had conversations, but I know Peg probably has a better memory than I do on that.
If I could just clarify, the town did approve proceeding with the design. I don't know that the funding was specified in that motion for chapter 90.
I
But
thought
we
some of
can-
the discussion was to use chapter 90, that Rich suggested chapter 90 funds, so if we already approved it, I don't see why this has to be.
I'll verify it.
I tried to find the motion exactly and I couldn't put my fingers on it. So if you can try to find it before Monday, that we don't need this agenda item and you could just forego it.
From July of last year to now.
Right,
I remember.
I've looked, yeah, so, we'll try to do our, but I wanted to make sure because I couldn't find it, I wanted to make sure we had that approval in place, just in case.
Anyone else? Seeing none, all those in favor? Jasmine? There we go. Getting more popular. Item number 8. Review, discuss to apply for up to $50,000 in brownfields funding for 30 Mill Street and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Very good. Mr. Manager?
Yeah, probably we'll have the recollection again that it came up in council because we talked about an expression of interest. We did the expression of interest, this is the feedback. This would allow us to apply for the funding for that 30 Mill Street piece of property on the brownfield. And I did talk to Michelle today. We were talking about timing and all this, and explained to her that we are going through this brownfields process as well. So hopefully we can come up with a comprehensive plan based on the timing of when we can get onto the property and back into the building for the structural as well as the brownfield. So it's a process, but we're moving on it. So it'd be nice to be able to get that assessment completed, and then we can then apply for other avenues of pockets of money for possible technical assistance and possible some remediation funds as well. So
Anyone at the table? Councilor Adams?
Just want to confirm there's no funds, matching funds, percentage, no.
Anyone else at the table? Anyone in the audience? Councilor Marquetti?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. What exactly would this cover?
what's that?
What would this money cover, and what are you gonna be using it for?
Yes, so this is identical to the grant we applied for last year. It is a phase 2, brownfields phase 2 site assessment. Last year, we had the estimate or the scope of work drafted by Fuss and O'Neill for $43,000. So we'll be updating that scope of work, assuming it will fall into around that. That's why I used the up to $50,000, because it may come in that, we don't need the 43. The prices may have gone up a little bit since last year. And that is just the next step in the environmental assessment of the property.
So this is just for an assessment,
Mm-hmm.
and once they find dirty dirt, then you have to pay for somebody to go in there and clean it up? That's the plan?
If I may, in the order of operations, if you go through the brownfield process, then that opens you up to potential future brownfield remediation funds.
Correct. And our understanding with Worcester Business Development in that conversation, we did not cause that contamination, so therefore we're not responsible.
We're not liable.
We're not liable for it, so that's what opens us up to applying for other environmental funds to remediate it.
And what about the owner?
The owner is,
Can't find him?
No, the owner is, we're proceeding with, he's in bankruptcy. We went to his house. The Worcester County Sheriff's did a search to try to find a new residence for him. Every residence come back to the one that we went to, so he is somewhere in the Netherlands. So, yeah, we're left holding the bag. Ultimately, we're gonna be the owners of that because it's in tax title. So this is, in order for us to proceed with a lot of this, we have to have ownership of the properties. And that's why Peg has been working to try to assist us with finding funding, because ultimately we're gonna be responsible for this mess. And the best, if we can get monies outside of town monies, it's the best way to go.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Steves?
Just a follow-up on that, I was curious, where do things stand as far as having the building visited by an engineer?
We have to go into court because we were able to take the portion of the building down because it was an immediate hazard.
Yeah.
But we've been advised by our attorneys that we can't go back into the building unless we have ownership of it, so we would have to get a court order to be able to enter into the building. So we will pursue that. We were determined that recently that it's been discharged from the bankruptcy court,
Okay.
so now it's moving to the tax title portion.
Do you have a rough time frame for where we can actually?
To be honest with you, I know the building department had somebody lined up to do it. We just have to get into Copeland and Page to go into court to file that order. So hopefully relatively soon.
Because unfortunately, as we all know, the longer that sits.
Oh, absolutely,
gets,
yeah.
so it's
That's
probably
why we're doing the
down.
assessment and we're doing the other things.
All right, let's keep it related to the grant.
Is it possible that this $50,000 may end up being needed to use it to demolish the property?
Yeah.
No.
Peg?
It wouldn't be allowed.
It wouldn't.
Right.
Maureen?
I'm just curious, you said we, I assume you mean the town, is not responsible for the toxic, who is?
Well, the owner was, but he no longer is gonna own it, so we didn't cause the contamination.
Seth Mocanto?
No,
Oh, okay.
he was not the owner of that property.
Oh, okay.
The condos have not owned it during the whole course of this
Okay.
mess.
Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 9. Review, discuss applying for up to $50,000 in real estate technical assistance for a municipal surplus property disposition study, and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Who did? Kathy. Thank you. Mr. Manager?
Refer to Peg, she's been working on this one.
So we've had a few developers approach us about whether the town is interested in leasing the landfill now that the landfill closure process has begun for things like a solar array and doing further gas capture and anything to generate income for the town. I want to bring forward. And so I brought this to, we had conversations with one of the potential developers, brought in the landfill monitor, Anna Smith at the time, the airport commission, or the airport director, discussions about, whether something this would even be allowed, were brought up about, would the DEP approve, would the FAA approve? Both both agencies were approached and gave approval of a potential application. And so I then brought it to the Board of Health. The Board of Health had excessive reservations about the idea of doing anything at the landfill, not to compromise the cap. Could compromising the cap then cause leaching, which could cause contamination, which could cause liability? There were these series of concerns from the Board of Health. So I don't have the level of expertise, obviously, to answer a lot of these questions. My only goal, again, is to generate income for the town, to be able to help with the taxes this next direction we can go is to get real estate technical assistance. These experts would come in and help us craft an RFP that would help protect against those concerns that the Board of Health had, ensuring that, you know, we don't somehow own the liability again that Casella owns currently for the landfill monitoring, or we don't potentially somehow become responsible for decommissioning the solar array in the future without enough funds, or, you know, all of the legal concerns. And rather than coming to the town and asking for legal funds to be able to hire an attorney to help us through this process, can we use this resource through mass development as a potential direction forward? Doesn't commit us to actually going out for an RFP. All of that would go through the town manager, through the town council. And I would like to open it up to not just the landfill, but if the town manager felt like there were other properties we would want to look at, if we were awarded, you know, we've got a couple other properties in town that we are going to potentially be going out for RFPs on. Would that be helpful for us?
Councilor Adams.
Thank you. Before the meeting, Kevin, Mr. Splain had brought up, felt like the motion itself was misleading per se. If that's the case, if anybody feels that that's misleading, then I just recommend amending this to where it says disposition of study, put in brackets landfill and other town's properties, or possibly town's properties, just to throw that in there so they know exactly what we're talking about in that position. I honestly, this is $50,000. Again, this is expression of interest. Is this the actual receipt?
We went for, excuse me.
For technical
make sure you-
assistance, I'm sorry. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
If I may, when we went for the expression of interest under, I'd have to look at the expression of interest. We went for technical assistance to help us with an RFP for the landfill solar array. They redirected us and said, apply for municipal surplus property disposition study. And that's why it changed from the expression of interest to this. And that's why it wasn't specific, my apologies. But yes, by all means, if you want to make it more specific, whatever you have to do to build.
So I'll make that amendment at this point. I'll make a motion for that amendment.
To include the words landfill and other town properties after the word study.
Yeah, and then we could,
Any discussion? I'm sorry, is there a second on that amendment? Is there a second?
I'll second,
You'll
yes.
second it? Okay. Any discussion on the amendment?
again, I just want to make sure, Mr. Chair, through you, just to clarify a little bit more, because there was a question that was brought up, and I just want to.
Mr. Chairman,
Okay.
to the amendment,
Mm-hmm.
first of all, if we're looking at other properties, which other properties? I mean, because I know, I'm not in favor of cutting down any more trees for something. The landfill, as far as solar goes, the landfill property might be one of the better ones. I'm not, being on the Board of Health, I'm not too thrilled about putting solar up there either for a different business, but in general, I mean, what properties are you looking at besides that?
I think we're not just talking solar, we would be talking, like we have the Globe Fire Station, right? Perhaps they could give us technical assistance in the RFP process to market that station as, because DPW, school moved to DPW, so we'll have that as a surplus property, so.
Okay.
And we have other pieces of property throughout town that we own, and how do we market those?
So how would the landfill technically be considered surplus property since it's going to be monitored for the next 25 years? And it's never going to be, we're never actually going to give it, sell it to anybody because it's a landfill. What do we buy? Any thoughts on that?
His name.
So under the categories of the ability of the project to accomplish one or more of the following: advance local plans and programming, attract or retain jobs, create housing opportunities, result in the redevelopment of surplus property, assist historically disadvantaged communities, advance smart growth, advance planning and redevelopment activities to a point where private sector is compelled to invest in a project area for regional impact or regional appropriate. I think maybe two of those are what we could fall into: the assist historically disadvantaged communities, because it's helping us, again, bring in revenue. And two, they're helping us advance planning and pre-development activities to a point where private sector is compelled to invest in the project area.
Okay, let's stick to the amendment.
Okay, wait.
Strictly to the amendment.
Yeah.
Strictly to the amendment. Any further discussion on the amendment? Ms. Dean?
So part of what I struggle with is that real estate typically is discussed in executive session. And so I'm often vague in public sessions or open sessions about exactly what we're talking about, because to be the most competitive, right, you have those discussions behind closed doors so that then you can have them, you can get the most for your money. So I apologize if it seemed like it all, it was a
It's just,
vagary.
it's very close to open meeting law violation, that's all.
And then with regards to actual properties, the town manager mentioned that there are properties. We have a property up on Commercial Drive that, is currently in a lease, but they're probably gonna forfeit the lease, or it's being sold, but they're probably going to pull out of that ownership. Those are the kind of properties that, we see as surplus, absolutely. But maybe that surplus property isn't the best definition.
Okay, any further discussion on the amendment? All those in favor of the amendment as stated? Opposed? Unanimous, all present for the amendment. So the amendment now includes the words surplus property disposition study, landfill and other town properties, and authorize the town manager, etc. Okay, discussion on the agenda item as amended at the table first. Anyone at the table? Okay. Councilor Shania had his hand up for a while.
So what we're applying for is a grant to assist us in writing out RFPs for surplus land or buildings that are no longer useful to the town. So in general, it's not just surplus land. There's nothing's gonna say it's gonna be a solar array on the landfill. Is what this is going to do is tell you what might be best use for resale, am I correct, or for leasing and stuff like that. So this isn't saying that that's gonna be a solar array up there. It's whatever comes about from that study, what would be the best use.
I would agree with that. It's limited to solar. That was
Right.
a proposal that came to us. There's been other proposals that individuals have come to us for other types of use
And
on
this
that
isn't-
landfill
We're
area.
not agreeing to that proposal.
It's just a study.
It's just a study, we have to go out for an RFP, and then if you decide you wanna do a solar array or something, that would be another RFP that dictates what that study probably said. So for all that, and I think that's a good idea, we need to look at all that. So, okay, that's, you answered my questions.
Okay, Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. So I've got a couple of problems with this. First of all, an open meeting law violation has already occurred. You can't amend something and now, we fixed the open meeting law violation. It should have been posted 48 hours in advance. Changing it now does not fix the open meeting law violation. This is an open meeting law violation because it's too vague. It doesn't talk about what this is, the purpose. This is just one issue that I have. It doesn't tell you what the purpose of this is for. The average person out there looks at the agenda and they don't see what this is for. They just say you're applying for a grant to study real estate in town, and that to me is too vague. In the packet, it's specific RFP for landfill solar array. The other issue I have is the landfill is under the Board of Health purview. Landfill is their responsibility. The town council, and we're always told they're a quasi-judicial board, the town council should have no say on what goes on up at that landfill. What was discussed at the Board of Health, and I have to agree with, is that you have a lot of issues up there. Casella is responsible for oversight. There's a liner. You're going to put solar panels on top of a liner. Could it poke a hole in it? Could it do some other damage, environmental damage up there? Is Casella going to walk away and say, force majeure, you put something on the landfill, we're no longer responsible? I don't know the answer. You don't know the answer either, so why take the risk on something like that? And who does this benefit? That's my final issue here. This benefits Northeast Energy, LNG, a company from Charlton. We are constantly helping out companies in Charlton. If Charlton wants to apply for a grant to to look at that and see if that would be beneficial, then let Charlton apply for it, and then we'll tell them how much we want to charge to let them put something somewhere on town property. You didn't want to do it for Chip Norton. We applied for a MassWorks grant, and the councilors voted it down because it's a private business. But now we're gonna help out Northeast Energy.
Nothing says it's gonna be that.
That's what it says in the packet. Project-specific feedback, RFP for landfill solar array. If you want to bring up another agenda item at the next meeting, be specific what you want to look at. I have no problem with that. But putting solar panels up at the landfill, in my opinion, is a bad idea. And I also noticed that in the past, we've had a vote on expression of interest, but on this one, apparently we didn't have a vote on it. It was just done without our vote. So those are my concerns about this specific agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, first.
Certainly.
In regards to an open meeting law violation, I don't believe there's any open meeting law violation. Yes, you're right. Is there enough specificity? Maybe, maybe not. That could be served by filing a complaint with the Attorney General's office if so fit. The conversation there, as you see, DEP had approved that concept. We have no skin in the game. If the council doesn't want us to do it, just vote it down and we'll walk away because we have a million other projects. Peg is just trying to have somebody that came here with an opportunity for provide some project to the town in an area that there is no electricity for the blue building up there. So the concept was if we could get a solar farm up there that might feed that area, because Mass Electric and National Grid has already told us it's not in their immediate plans or future plans right now to put higher grade electricity up to that area because it's too costly. All right? So if the council wants to vote no, I have no heartburn with it. Peg doesn't either, because we'll concentrate on Mill Street. So just vote it down and say thank you very much, and we'll walk away. We don't do anything specifically for the individual in Charlton. That was what DEP said they approved. The gentleman came to us and said, I'd like to explore it further. We have the airport up there. We'll simply walk away from it and say thank you, just like we're telling Chip now, fight your own battle. You want to find it somewhere else, find funded, go to DEP, go. But to say that there's open meeting violation on this agenda item is wrong, because I challenge you to look at any other town when they post their meetings and agenda items, a lot more, less specificity than this. So we take your point in hand. Just, I don't want to spend a lot of time discussing it. If you don't want us to proceed with it, just vote it that way, and we'll move on to the other projects that we have. Because we could spend a lot more time on the River Crane project and get that funding and all the other grant opportunities that we are looking for. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Good. Council Rivas.
I don't have an issue with the motion itself. I'm just curious, would this memorandum be attached to the application when the memo that we have here that does mention the solar array?
So the terms of your application are that you can't already have chosen a winner. You can't already have chosen the purpose. It's their job to come help you decide what would be the best use of this potential property. And so the only reason we're even considering it is because we've had these proposed uses. But the memo wouldn't be included necessarily, just the content, the contents from it. Yeah.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, let's go over here now. Maureen.
Okay, thanks. Whatever is going up there, please be cognizant of the wetlands. That whole area is rife with wetlands. And as Gus pointed out, Casella is still monitoring. They have to report to us. So I don't want anything to hinder their monitoring. And several years ago, when I was on the Landfill Oversight Committee, and Casella was very active in that, I had proposed doing something like solar. I was more into it at the time. And Tracy Markham herself said, no, you can't do that there. So I think before any solar goes up there, we need to explore, is it possible? And my last thing is, I want to thank Peg for using the correct word, array. And it bothers me that people don't use the correct word.
Thank you.
Yes, just to quickly respond, Casella was connected with the potential developer as an initial first step to talk about, whether that would even work in their opinion. And then as part of that DEP pre-application process when they asked DEP their position on it, Casella and again Anna Smith were on that call, I believe.
And they felt that that was an appropriate use?
Casella?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Gus?
I wonder if what Tracy was originally referring to, that Maureen just referred to, is something that is cited here on DEP's own website. It specifically states, if a landfill has recently ceased accepting waste, primary settlement may pose a fatal flaw in the project. If a landfill has been closed for a significant period of time, typically on the order of 10 to 15 years, much of the primary settlement may have already happened. It definitely has not been closed for 10 or 15 years. If they finished capping, what, 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago? If we're going to be doing something like this, it would seem like the site conditions would argue against putting solar up there for probably at least the next decade. Although it does say that there's some timing and extent does vary a bit depending on landfill depth, the type of waste, and a few other factors.
Thank you.
So I would, again, I wasn't in the position to vet that information, it was for DEP too. But what we did hear from the health, from Maritza, for instance, right, was it's probably too soon in her opinion also, yeah. And so again, just like the town manager said, if this is just a too soon thing, right, and the town feels like it's not worth the potential income versus the risk, then by all means, put it on hold for however long the town wants to.
Right. On the other hand, can I follow up on that?
Sure.
On the other hand, I know that there was years and years ago, Casella was talking about expanding the landfill gas and energy project. And if we could figure out some way to do that safely without compromising the stability of the landfill, and could come up with some way that the energy could benefit the community, I might be willing to support that.
Okay, I think we're getting far afield of the agenda item again. Let's rein it back in. Come back to the agenda item. Kevin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, through you, Ms. Dean. Peg, solar field, someone wants to go in after the gases, build a playground up there, whatever, or nothing. If anything happens, is the Board of Health going to be involved with a question and answer session? If we decide to proceed with whatever this thing we're going out to do?
So this was just an expression of interest for us to get technical assistance about whether we go forward with something like this,
And now this is the full application.
right? And then we go on to the full application for the technical assistance, right? They would give us, right?
Right, correct, I understand that, but if
Ah.
it goes through,
We would not do anything in the vacuum without getting approval by council, Board of Health. I mean, that would be foolish on our part. We would have to fully vet it through legal. There's a ton of steps that would have to go through
okay.
before we did something like that.
Okay. Councilor Adams.
Just clarification. Technical assistance doesn't mean that the solar panels or solar arrays will go up there. It's still up to town council to make the final decision, correct? Just asking the question.
Yes, and when they're doing this evaluation, they could determine, in response to Gus Steve's comments, that the gas recapture is a safer, better project, or that that the benefit needs to be that it pushes energy to the town. the developer looked at the energy load at the airport and at the wastewater treatment plant and said that they could easily offset both of those with a project like this. And so it would be that opportunity, you're looking at whatever the greatest, highest and best use essentially in an assessor's
That's what you're
term.
utilizing this for, right?
Exactly, yes.
It doesn't cost the town any money. Just like the AO properties, didn't cost anything. It was an expression to see what was out there. So this technical assistance doesn't cost the town any money. Takes a look at a piece of property that we don't know what we could utilize it for, if anything, down the road at all. So, but if they come back and say, with this technical assistance, you can't put anything, we wouldn't recommend it. At least we know what's out there for us. Doesn't mean that the town council doesn't in the end say, we don't want a solar array up there at all, period. That's up to the town council. We're allowed to, I just want to throw this out. We're allowed to amend things. We do it at town council all the time. If we see something that's there, was brought to attention, we amended it at that point in time. And the reason why I also brought it up to amend it to that is as a public document, it talks about the landfill and the solar arrays. So that's why I added it on there as well.
The
So,
residents don't see that.
okay,
They only see the agenda.
Okay.
all right, so, again, I'll always say this, taped, come to the meetings,
48
all this
hours
stuff.
in advance.
So thank you.
All right, all right.
That's all I have for this. I'm in favor of letting the town council make that decision.
Councilor Shannon.
I kind of think this is just going way off track. We're not discussing putting a solar field up there. We're discussing technical grant to see what would be best use land. Well, that landfill, and so I think we're gone way beyond, because if you're sitting here, people are gonna say, geez, they're putting a solar field up there because of the discussion. I think the discussion has gone way away from what the intent of the item is.
That's right.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's right. No, Councilor Adams did the right thing. He clarified the situation. I think it's clarified well. Councilor Marquetti.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to circle around here. First of all, it does say in the packet this is for solar panels up at the landfill. So that's what it says. I'm not making something up and I'm not inventing anything. That's exactly what it says in the packet. Second of all, we are already capturing gas up at the landfill, so I don't know why we would have to study that again. We are getting $85,000 a year from gas to energy up at the landfill. And finally, my only point is, not so much the open meeting law violation. We have a disagreement down there, but my point is, this is a Board of Health issue, and I don't think the town council should even be involved in it, really, so. And that's, I'll let it go at that, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Just for the, no, I was just gonna say, because Councilor Adams was able to clarify this, it's only an expression of interest. There is no intent.
It's a technical assistance.
Technical assistance. It is not intent to do anything at this point. It's just find out what's out there. The fact that the town manager is able to look at other properties in town as well. It's not just one property. I understand what's in the memorandum. However, it's been said publicly that there's gonna be other properties that are gonna be looked at as well, and we need to start looking at other properties in town to see what we can do with them, especially if we have some properties eventually going into tax title or in tax title. I think it's prudent to look and see what's out there. But I also feel that interest, technical assistance does not mean we're gonna do something. It means that we're gonna look into it. And I think that's being prudent. So I will support this item and reserve my feelings on particular uses of property as we've been talking about tonight, and as I let it get out of hand a little bit. We'll talk about that at another time. Mr. Manager.
Just real
first.
quick, through you to the previous speaker. In regards to the gas capturing that we already capture the gas, those fellow councilors that served with me remember former councilor Manna was on an agenda goal for a former town manager about expanding that gas capturing. And could we expand and look into it, and what would it take to do that? So this might give us an opportunity to look at that expansion of that gas. I know it never went anywhere at that point, but this might give us an opportunity on the expansion of that gas.
That's right.
So I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that it's $85,000 that you said, because they're keyed another thing I have to take a look at.
Could I just ask for one piece of document that has not been provided here, and that's the okay from Mass DEP? I don't see it in here. I'd appreciate it if I could have a copy of it.
Okay, you can take care of that.
Oh, no, if I may through you, I've asked multiple times for that. In fact, in my last email to this potential developer, I'd said that there was much hesitancy from the town. One of the things that they need is that pre-approval document.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Council Rivas.
But just to clarify, this is an application, not a letter of interest, correct? And then my second question, while the memorandum is not going to be attached, the content, so there is going to be, in the application, we are going to talk about the solar array.
So maybe it would be helpful if I just quickly summarize the memo. It states, as Councilor Marquetti says, it states landfill. The previous expression of interest we submitted asked for technical assistance for an RFP for the landfill, and I included the feedback for that expression of interest from that initial expression of interest for the technical assistance for the RFP for the solar landfill. We are now going for a full application for what we were advised to apply for, which is this real estate technical assistance for municipal surplus property disposition study. In that study, I say in the background that we are seeking assistance whether the landfill can be safely leased for a solar array while protecting the town's interest, and if yes, can Mass Development help craft the most advantageous RFP for the town. The last paragraph I say is, we will include in the application a request to review other town parcels the town manager may want to include in this study. And then I talk about all of the hesitancies of the Board of Health in it.
And that content will be in the application. Thank you.
Anyone else at the table? Okay, no further discussion present. All those in favor? Opposed? Anyone abstain? No. 3-1. 3-1, the motion passes. Item number 10, review, discuss to enter into an agreement with Zen City or the lowest quote for community engagement software using Economic Development Specialized Services Fund, and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Chairman, there will be an amendment to that. I know Peg had contacted our office because we already have the town agenda ready, but I'll let her go through that amendment, correct? There's an amendment to that. But this is to replace the free, that we've been talking about for years, the free electric.
No, this is not the motion, yeah. So the one that they're reviewing, do you want to take it from here?
I didn't see the memo.
So
Go ahead, sorry.
there is no memo, so that's my fault. I was waiting on the final quotes. It's looking like Zen City is Civil Space. It's our existing storyboard public engagement software, and they've changed their name to Zen City. They are the lowest quote. I called Matt today and said to please change the motion for the town council to Zen City / Civil Space and scratch or lowest quote. We contracted with them 1 year, 2 year for less than $10,000. Once you go over $10,000, if it's within those 3 years, you have to go out for formal quotes. So before I could go ahead, I had to make sure that I went out for my quotes. I've asked 2 other companies, and they're way beyond Civil Space's prices. We've got one for $15,000 to $30,000, and the other one hasn't even responded. So I'm confident that Zen City will be our vendor. Oh, that's okay, and I have 30 days to cancel the contract, so that's why I needed to bring it now.
So I need an amendment. I need a motion to amend the item to include the words / civil space after the words Zen City and delete the words or the lowest quote.
So moved.
Second.
Is that Jasmine?
Yeah.
All right. Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor? Anyone opposed? No. 4. Okay, discussion on the item as amended. Okay, Council Marquetti.
I'm sorry, could you tell me what Zen City is again? I think we discussed this a year ago, but my memory fails sometimes.
Zen
What
City.
exactly is it? What kind of software is it?
Zen City is what we've had for the last 2 years. It's called Civil Space. You can find
It's
it.
the map that we do?
It's the
Assessments?
storyboard software that shows the different projects we have in the office. It's where the most recent hazard mitigation plan survey
Now I
was
recall.
created.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? There being none, all those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present. Item number 11, vote to approve entering into a contract with Firefly to install paid EV charging stations at the town hall at no cost to the town, and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Mr. Manager.
This is to replace the free charges with paid charges for the town hall.
Council Marquetti.
Through you, it's about time. That's all I'll say.
And I know Peg worked very hard to get this down to 0, because at one time it was like they wanted $2,000 and Peg got them down to 0. So she is a tough negotiator.
They're gonna make
when
the
it
money,
comes to
right?
Nice.
that.
Yeah, they can-
And we do have the ones installed at the Mass RMV. We already have it set up with how much we charge per kilowatt hour. Peg did, and everybody in the town hall had to work hard to pull electric bills just to figure out how much it was per kilowatt hour and all that, so, yes.
Councilor Adams.
Absolutely have no problem with it whatsoever, but now if we're gonna put our vehicle over there, right, to charge, is that a part of the deal, or is that something that needs to be budgeted for our vehicles?
We're probably gonna have to install that free charger somewhere else.
All right, good to go.
If I-
I'll defer to Peg, but.
So Firefly initially offered another brand than ChargePoint for the chargers, but now I've asked them to please give us the quote with ChargePoint because we're already tied in with them because of the RMV chargers. One of the options through ChargePoint is to get a card, and so with that card we can charge for free. So we can use that just for the town car.
Town vehicle. Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else at the table? In the audience? Very good. All those,
Thank you.
Maureen?
Oh, what is happening with the old ones? Why are we getting new ones?
So,
To charge people,
Yes.
because everybody has said for the last 4 years, why do we have free chargers? There's individuals that come up here that we know that probably make pretty good livings and just sit here all day and charge for free. And we're
So
paying for it.
what's
We as the
happening-
taxpayers pay for
What's
it.
happening to the old ones?
Junkyard.
You know, yeah, this is.
No, we'll
this
probably
is-
move it maybe to DPW maybe.
This
Send
is
it
where
down to
I'm
DPW.
going, like, so much of infrastructure is getting thrown away.
We're not gonna throw it
and
away.
I
We'll go to
don't
the
think,
DPW.
Okay, Peg?
could I please?
Good.
Yes. So from the start, the plan has been working with the DPW, can we put it down there? And so we've already talked about where the easiest place to tie in the electric is, et cetera, with the assumption that the town, there may be more town vehicles that will eventually come on into the fleet that will be able to use it. So by no means would we just junk them. If we have to store them temporarily, we may, but they wouldn't be junked.
Very good. All those in favor? Opposed? Unanimous of all present.
Now, the question is slightly off topic. Whatever happened to the library charges? We approved
That's a discussion for another day. Yeah.
We'll find out. Item number 12, review, discuss entering into agreement with Charlton Fence to replace the front and side of the Main Street playground fence for $9,600 and authorize the town manager to sign all related paperwork. Entertain a motion to recommend to town council for approval.
So moved.
I'll second.
Yeah, he kept it perfect for me.
You're welcome.
Peggy?
And same, but you.
Yeah, so this is in addition to the playground improvements at the Main Street, the Rotary Club Park. After the DPW was able to do some of the demo of the existing playground for us, we had a little more money than we were anticipating. And after talking to Pete from DPW about what would be good additions to the park, he mentioned a gate that would actually open and close instead of currently it just opens straight into the street. And there's nothing like kids could easily walk through right into Main Street. So with that, we're just improving the existing fence and adding a gate that secures.
Okay. Discussion at the table.
What,
Nope. Good.
what playground was this?
On Main Street, it's the one that was burned.
Cross Street.
600
Oh, 600 block, okay. All right, I was like, where? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else at the table? Council Shannon.
Is there additional funds we can add a camera up there?
I don't believe we have enough funding for that from CDBG.
Could you research it and see if there's leftover money from the whole project that maybe a camera could be done?
So one of the things I did look into for Victor was potential, there's a Maya grant that happens every year. And based on your liability, you can potentially get things that could reduce your future claims. So we could make the case that because of the vandalism of the concession stand,
Yeah.
that we could use cameras around town. And then I guess it would just be a priority for the town manager to decide where those could be used.
Yep. That works.
Okay. Anyone else? All those in favor? Opposed?
Motion to
All
adjourn.
present? Moved by Counselor Adams, second by Jasmine. Oh, done. Messed up.
Okay, I'll-
All those in favor?
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Somebody.
Might as well let it run.